The history of World War II is replete with complex alliances, surprising betrayals, and deeply troubling ideologies. One of the lesser-known but equally significant collaborations was between the Grand Mufti of Jerusalem, Amin al-Husseini, and the Nazi regime. This alliance was not only politically motivated but also deeply rooted in a shared ideology of anti-Semitism. Join us as we delve into this dark chapter of history, exploring the motivations, events, and repercussions of this controversial partnership. Amin al-Husseini was born in 1897 in Jerusalem, a city under Ottoman rule at the time. He hailed from a prominent Palestinian Arab family with a long history of political and religious influence. Al-Husseini was educated in Islamic law and theology, and his early involvement in politics was marked by his staunch opposition to Zionist immigration to Palestine. In 1921, the British Mandate authorities appointed Amin al-Husseini as the Grand Mufti of Jerusalem, making him the leading religious figure for Palestinian Muslims. This position granted him significant influence, which he used to further his nationalist and anti-Zionist agenda. While al-Husseini was consolidating his power in Palestine, Europe was witnessing the rise of Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party in Germany. Hitler's ideology, outlined in his manifesto, Mein Kampf, was rooted in extreme nationalism, Aryan supremacy, and virulent anti-Semitism. By 1933, Hitler had become Chancellor of Germany, and his regime swiftly moved to implement policies that marginalized, persecuted, and ultimately sought to annihilate the Jewish population in Europe. In Palestine, Amin al-Husseini's rhetoric grew increasingly radical. He perceived Jewish immigration as a direct threat to Arab sovereignty and Islamic holy sites. His speeches and writings began to reflect not only a nationalist opposition to Zionism but also a broader anti-Semitic worldview. By the late 1930s, al-Husseini had become one of the most prominent voices in the Arab world, calling for resistance against both British colonial rule and the growing Jewish presence in Palestine. With the outbreak of World War II in 1939, the geopolitical landscape shifted dramatically. Amin al-Husseini saw an opportunity to align himself with powers that shared his enmity towards the British and the Jews. In 1940, he fled Palestine to avoid arrest by the British authorities and eventually made his way to Nazi Germany. In Berlin, al-Husseini found a receptive audience among the Nazi leadership. He was welcomed as an ally and given the resources to broadcast his anti-Semitic propaganda across the Arab world. The alliance between the Grand Mufti and the Nazis was formalized in November 1941, when al-Husseini met with Adolf Hitler. The two leaders shared a mutual interest in undermining British influence in the Middle East and eradicating the Jewish population. During this meeting, Hitler assured al-Husseini that once Germany had achieved victory in Europe, it would support the elimination of the Jewish presence in Palestine. This agreement marked a turning point in the Mufti's collaboration with the Nazis. With Nazi support, al-Husseini began a campaign to spread anti-Semitic propaganda and recruit Muslim soldiers to fight for the Axis powers. He utilized radio broadcasts, pamphlets, and personal appeals to galvanize support for the Nazi cause. One of al-Husseini's most significant contributions to the Nazi war effort was his role in the formation of the 13th Waffen Mountain Division of the SS Handschar, a Muslim unit composed primarily of Bosniaks. These soldiers were indoctrinated with both Nazi and Islamic rhetoric, creating a unique and lethal blend of ideologies. While the full extent of the Holocaust was still unfolding, al-Husseini's collaboration with the Nazis included active participation in the planning and execution of the final solution. He met with key figures such as Heinrich Himmler and Adolf Eichmann, expressing his support for their genocidal policies and urging the extermination of Jews in Arab lands. Al-Husseini's anti-Semitic zeal was not limited to words. He intervened to prevent the emigration of Jewish refugees from Europe to Palestine, ensuring that more Jews would fall victim to the Nazis' extermination efforts. As the war drew to a close, the Nazi regime collapsed, and the full horror of the Holocaust was revealed to the world. Al-Husseini fled to Switzerland, and later to France, where he was detained, but ultimately escaped to the Middle East. In the post-war years, al-Husseini continued his political activities, though his influence waned. He remained a controversial figure, with his wartime collaboration casting a long shadow over his legacy. The alliance between the Grand Mufti of Jerusalem and the Nazis remains a contentious and often overlooked aspect of World War II history. It highlights the intersection of political opportunism and ideological extremism, revealing how anti-Semitism can unite seemingly disparate factions. Today, historians and scholars continue to study this dark chapter, seeking to understand the motivations and implications of this unholy alliance. The story of Hajj Amin al-Husseini and his collaboration with the Nazis serves as a stark reminder of the dangers of hatred and intolerance. History is often a tapestry of complex and uncomfortable truths. The alliance between the Grand Mufti of Jerusalem and the Nazis is a poignant example of how ideological extremism can lead to alliances that defy conventional boundaries. By examining this chapter in depth, we gain a deeper understanding of the forces that shaped the 20th century and the enduring impact of hatred on human history. Thank you for joining us on this journey through history. May we remember the past to better understand our present and shape a more just and tolerant future. If you enjoyed this video, then please like, share, subscribe and comment. It goes a long way to help the channel grow, and I really appreciate it. If you would like to become a Patreon sponsor of the channel, then please click the link in the description. It would help a lot with better quality of videos, as well as going towards improving the hardware used in creating better content for the channel. Your support is truly appreciated. Thanks for watching, and please stay safe.